Hello and welcome. Thank you all for joining us today. I'm Nick Kanoki, Director of Technology for the Asset Leadership Network, and I'm excited for a busy conversation today live from the National Institute of Building Sciences Building Innovation 2024 conference. I think we'll hear from Kimon Onuma, Mike Bordenero, and a few other speakers today. We'll get an introduction from each of them when they speak. Before we get underway, we just want to thank our patron members, Jacobs, Mantech, Onuma, ABS Quality Evaluations, and CGI, as well as all our organizational members who make this possible. So if you're out there thinking you'd like to work with us, please reach out and we can figure out how to achieve our missions together. And tomorrow, I believe, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, that there's a Brains and Bytes Digital Twins and AI kind of wrap-up program that will actually be broadcast from the conference.
That is exactly right, Nick. This is Mike Bordenaro, Executive Director of the ALN, off screen.
Thanks,
And
Mike.
we have been holding a series of web programs leading up to the BIM storm tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern Time. You can register at buildinginnovation.org. And Kimono Numa, again, will be leading a demonstration of what is possible today, including AI, digital twins, and other advanced technologies and processes, including the asset management governance over all these activities that help ensure the mission outcome of the organization is achieved. And today, we've got three distinguished people that have been working with Kimono Numa for almost the entire time of the BIM storm process that he's been doing. And we have Steve Hagen, who is with Hagen Technologies. He was with GSA and was a strong advocate. Russ Manning, who is with the International Code Council now and was with the U.S. Department of Defense. And Calvin Cam, who is
with Strategic Building Innovation.
Strategic Building Innovation and has been really closely involved in advancing building technology. So they've agreed to take time out of the conference to say what they've been seeing and what they're presenting about, because we've got a couple of presenters here. So why don't we start with Steve Hagen. Steve, how are you doing?
Good, excellent. And I'm very happy to be here. This is a pretty exciting conference happening. We were just in a session earlier, and I'll just tee this up with interesting topic. We're working together with Calvin and almost everyone 21 years ago. 2003 is when we first started looking at GSA and the 3D, 4D BIM program. So what's in the past is now the future, and the big question for us today is, how is AI going to help us in doing anything more than what we tried to do 21 years ago? So I'm excited to get some answers from everyone.
Well, we'll come back to that. Russ?
So Russ Manning, I'm with the International Code Council. I work in a group that develops the international building codes, the iCode suite that we talk about. And I'm also on the board of directors for the National Institute of Building Sciences. So I'm actually here as a participant on the board, but these two gentlemen on my left and right, I've been working with them for quite a few years too. When I was in the Department of Defense, in the Defense Health Agency, and trying to figure out how we could do facility lifecycle management better. The GSA was a little bit ahead of us, so I met Steve and Calvin and was trying to learn as much as I could from them. And over the years, we've all been working along similar veins, but trying to improve asset management, trying to improve facility lifecycle management, and how we can use technology to bring that together. Certainly being here at NIBS during this conference is a great opportunity for folks that have interests in facility lifecycle management in the built environment, building sciences, to all come together and start sharing ideas and start solving a plethora of problems. It's a great industry, but it's ripe for improvement. There's always something we can fix. So it's always exciting to be here and learn new things. Thanks.
Thank you. Calvin?
Well, hello all. This is Calvin Cam. I'm glad to be a part of this community. And as Steve and Russ and Mike and Kimo mentioned, It's really about bringing values, proving values, articulating values, proving the values to asset owners. So I think I love your organization's name. It's about the asset leadership network. I think I love all three words and how they combine. And indeed, what we can do to demonstrate the value to innovate along the way, which is the theme of this conference, building innovation. I love those two words. And it's also about what we have done individually, collectively, but more importantly, what we can do today and for the future. So hello all.
Excellent, Calvin.
And I was just going to say, Russ, you're on the board, 50 years of NIPS. That's pretty spectacular, amazing.
Yeah, it's certainly a good birthday for NIPS, but it's incredible when you look at the history that they put together as to what they've done for the industry. Certainly have helped the industry, but plenty of work to do yet. So encourage everybody to get involved if you have interest in the built environment.
Yep. Excellent. So Calvin, you presented, would you tell us a little bit about what you presented on?
Yeah. Earlier today, I got the chance to share a little bit of what we have done. It's about leveraging open BIM for project management. So I think the essence is that how we can let the technology to empower us to better bring values, whether it's about specifying requirements, exploring options, reinforcing the requirements that we ask that we hopefully want to get, not only ensuring that projects are on time, on budget, but how do we get towards climate change, get towards resiliency, how we can leverage technology and global and national standards to achieve that. And so showing some proven experiences, actual demonstrations, and more importantly, metrics. How can we prove the values?
Metrics and values is a very important part of asset management. And so thank you for bringing that up, Calvin. And Steve, you presented today also. Can you tell us a little bit about your presentation?
Well, we were talking about how AI, artificial intelligence, could really help federal agencies and effectively leverage BIM in a more effective way. And so that was a fascinating topic. And I brought up the fact that we started this 21 years ago in 2003. But in the time since then, there's been a lot of evolution, a lot of cultural changes. Calvin and I have worked together very closely at GSA, and then with Russ at DOD. I think there's still a lot to be done, and everyone's asking the question, what's this AI, generative AI stuff? I think we're at the very beginning. I almost feel like we're at the beginning of the internet in some respects, and there's a lot to learn about what this is. And I think there's a lot for the technologists to learn about our particular industry. And I think that's our responsibility to convey what it is about us. And maybe that's the challenge. We're fragmented, got these challenges of efficiency, and yet we're so important to the world of commerce and the world around us in climate change. That's very important.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity too for the next generation. It's hard to be talking about the next generation because 20 years ago we were that generation, right? But there's plenty of opportunities for the folks that are out there that have an interest in the built environment, want to build the future essentially for the habitat of mankind. And it's plenty of things to solve, great things in technology. A lot of the newer folks coming out want to do things in technology, and there's an infinite number of opportunities, ways to integrate the data, ways to integrate metrics that have meaningful impact on improving the environment, improving resiliency for the built environment, building safety. So, hopefully we have some folks that are looking at this that are either in high school, college, and trying to figure out what they want to do next. Come work with us in the building environment. It's a great opportunity.
Excellent. So Steve mentioned about proving what's possible. And I think that's the heart of BIM storms. And you've all been involved with BIM storms. BIM storm started through the National Institute of Building Sciences 17 years ago. That's 1/3 of the 50-year anniversary. Can you each say a little bit about your experience with the BIM storm process and how you feel it helped move things forward? Calvin, you start?
Looking forward to be in the middle of the storm tomorrow around this time. As many of us have been over the years, it's unlike any other storm. This is a fun storm. This is a thought-provoking storm, and it's really a great network. So over the years, I think it's really impressive to see how Kimon and Mike and the team is able to bring kind of like all the best technology, all the available tool sets, and actually integrate them and do something meaningful and prove that scalability and network and everything that's possible. So I think it's important. We just need to replicate that throughout the industry, continue as Russ and Steve mentioned to inspire our younger generation.
So, Russ, you were involved in a seminal BIM storm that showed how the healthcare industry could move forward. Can you talk a little bit about what was achieved in that?
Yeah, so over the years, again, trying to build on what they had done, integrating BIM using technology to help work smarter, not harder within, the built environment, building, planning, programming, transition into operations. We tried to look at how we could start integrating data from our assets into the early plans so that we can make smarter decisions. And working with the VA, and Renee Tejan at the time, and Anuma, we were actually able to do a BIM storm that brought those pieces together. And one of the great things about the BIM storm, as Calvin said, it highlights the existing technology. It highlights how we can, in a collaborative environment from multiple locations around the world. It doesn't seem like such a big deal today. 20 years ago, we all weren't using Zoom or Teams, and being able to do this in a much more remote fashion, how we can bring those together. But the other piece is trying to look at where the tools fit well, sort of like a bunch of Legos you bring together, how you can make those work well together, where we have pieces that need to be improved. One of the things that ICC is doing with the BIM Storm tomorrow is we have an AI tool that we've been building into our digital codes platform. And we think we've done some good things there, but there's a lot, to the point that was made earlier. We're at the very early stages of this, so we think we've done some good things, but what we want to learn is where people are trying to use it across that facility lifecycle management platform, and where we need to improve it and bring those multiple ideas in together so that we can learn and keep moving the ball down the field.
I keep going backwards to long time ago. So 2005, we were all involved, we all collectively involved in American Institute of Architects Technology and Practice Knowledge Community. So we magically created this BIM awards program. And for a couple of years, we awarded to different things, but Kimon's BIM Storm was one of our earliest award winners. And along with that was this partnership with the Open Geospatial Consortium. Pretty interesting thing that they have done where they actually do a test bed. They have all this technology, but they said, let's make it really work in a real world situation. So that was pretty fascinating to see how that worked up at Jersey. We were up in New York somewhere. I forget where we were. Port Authority of New York, and this big thing. And so that was pretty spectacular to be part of a test bed and BIM storm together.
Yeah, it's really sort of about how we keep trying to integrate information, right? As we keep going through this, and I keep talking about the opportunities, I think we've come a long way in those 20 years that we keep talking about. But it almost seems like every time we get around one corner, there's another big set of problems that we're trying to do and trying to advance it, take it farther down the field. But the tools that we were playing with 20 years ago, through, honestly, the BIM Storm, we've been able to highlight both to the software developers, to the builders, to the designers, to the owners, what we need to do to work together to start bringing all of this information together. And really, at the end of the day, it's about managing the assets that are in our infrastructure across the built environment.
So tomorrow we have that session. It's called Brains and Bikes. And we intentionally put brains first because we don't want the brains to be lost. There's a lot of brains running around this room here and over the years. But we're looking at digital twins and AI, and we're still exploring, like we heard earlier. This is just the very beginning. And I think it's important for us as an industry to be there looking and testing things, see what breaks, what doesn't make sense, and for us to drive the dialogue.
I think that's the most important part, the brain, and I think we all hopefully are all contributing to the mindset that it's open, it's always innovating, always striving to do more as a network, as an ecosystem together. And I think one thing I've seen difference from the last 20 years is that we are not alone. I think globally, we see many countries. I also work a lot with Building Smart. Many of us work a lot with Building Smart International. And through that, we see that all the pain points and the opportunities, what BIMstorm kind of like encompass, certainly as a global audience, as a global demand. And I think that's what we all need to do with this open mind, with this drive for innovation.
And I think the BIMstorm is a great place for a bunch of people that on a daily basis might be competitors, but you can all just get together and sort of start throwing ideas out and trying to see what works, what doesn't work, and how we as a team, in all those common problems can start looking at solutions that we can all harness and use moving forward.
So one of the things they mentioned in that opening session yesterday at the SNIPS conference is how unique NIBS is to bring people together. And I actually think they're bringing not just the US, but for a lot of people here, the whole international community. And that's a pretty powerful force at work.
And certainly, NIBS, one of the main things for NIBS is to be a convening authority, and it just provides a common ground or a common area with folks, again, that might be competitors on a day-to-day basis, but have common problems, and we can come together and take a look at how we can solve those common problems with some solutions that we can all share.
I think one thing that's interesting from the competition point of view is if you look at the technologies that are out there today, compared to what we used to do in the past, where we had to pass the entire file over, for example, you can actually compete and still collaborate. Actually, the DoD is a perfect example with the satellites and the geopositioning systems and sharing to the world. I use that example all the time. But I think that's kind of where we are with our industry. We're ready to kind of shift, hopefully. And maybe this is the inflection point. I don't know. What do we think? Are we there? The 50 years plus another 50 years?
Well, I think one of the things is the power in our the handhelds of our iPhone, our smartphones, our tablets are giving us so much ability to do a lot of stuff that they weren't around 20 years ago, right?
So something that Calvin mentioned, innovation is an important part of the ISO 55001 asset management best practices list. The last item on the list is continual improvement. And that's what innovation is, and all of you are interested in that continual improvement. So it's good to have you involved in this again.
I had a boss one time that I asked him when I showed up on the job, I said, "What do you want me to do?" He said, "We're a target-rich environment for improvement. Pick something and fix it." Yeah. I mean, that's the AEC plus O&M industry in a nutshell. But the cool thing is, again, looking at the history, while we have a lot of stuff to fix, there's a lot of stuff we have been fixing. Yeah. And certainly the opportunity to be here at NIBS, the opportunity to participate in BIMstorm, you get to work with great folks like the person on my left and the person on my right, and you get to learn from them, and hopefully we can all build things moving forward and leapfrog.
Well, and I was excited at the luncheon today, and they had awards for young people, the new up and coming I guess they were stars or whatever they were. Just very excited to see young people coming into our industry, and we need so many more. So that's a big recruiting challenge I think we have.
I love the morning program about the next 50 years, a panel of 4, and there were 3 women who were knocking down the door to get into the building industry.
Yeah, exactly.
Wonderful.
Yeah, very good.
So was there anything else that you've seen that you think would be good to report to the audience?
So while these these two guys are thinking about it. I think I'm just going to stress the point again that one thing that I always find interesting when I come to one of these building innovation conferences is the diversity of people that are here from different parts of the industry, whether it's insurance, whether it's finance, whether it's design, whether it's construction, whether it's software folks, or obviously a bunch of consulting folks across the life cycle, but also from a resiliency and standpoint, or resiliency and sustainability standpoint. It's just a lot of different minds with a lot of good information, all trying to work around this very big puzzle of the built environment. And if you haven't been, we do it every year, and I would encourage you to look for it next year.
Yeah, very exciting.
Excellent. There's no reason that we need to go 30 minutes, but Nick, if you would put in the chat, buildinginnovation.org, and then if you go to the schedule, 2024 schedule, and scroll down, you'll see the Brains and Bites program. And tomorrow you can register for that 12:30 Eastern. It is the only program that is being webcast from this. And because it's the last program, we kind of get to talk about what is the next 50 years going to be looking like. Because actually, we think we're demonstrating what the next 50 years look like. And you can do it today. So there's more that you realize is possible. And thank you for attending. And we look forward to seeing you tomorrow, too.
Building innovation.
I pluralized building innovation. It's singular.
Michael,
I got it, Mike. I was able to post that link in the chat, and folks had been asking about it. There were some questions about solutions for data integration throughout the building life cycle, and I directed folks to Cyril Verlet's company, CDV Systems, as well as to the program tomorrow. Is Cyril speaking in that? No, he's not.
Tomorrow he will be virtually attending.
Okay.
Because as BIMstorm taught us 17 years ago, you don't have to get together in person, although it's really wonderful to get together in person. But we can bring people in from all over the world now. Let's use these tools to solve the problems that we've created.
It's occasionally good to see everybody in 3D.
It's really good. It's old home week. So Nick, if you could bring us home with the concluding.
Of course. Yeah, and I'll just say briefly before I bring up the slides that I really appreciated you three gentlemen talking today, and Kimon as well, and Mike, thank you for your time. And thanks everyone to their attention to the future in this program. I really feel like it was a hopeful and big picture approach, thinking about, again, resilience and sustainability and performance over time. We want to be still doing this in many years. So
Nick is part of that next generation, and his two little girls, one who was just born a month ago.
Wow,
he's really focused hard on making sure there's a future for them. So.
Very nice.
Absolutely. Yes, I have many reasons to want your work to succeed. Thank you, guys. And so here we are. Thank you to our patron members, Jacobs, Mantech, Onuma, ABS Quality Evaluations, and CGI, as well as all our organizational members making this ALN work possible. So thank you again for your support. And again, find us again tomorrow, broadcast live from NIBS, but National Institute of Building Sciences is running the production, and we hope to see you.
This is going to continue. The workshop series continues on January 20th or June 20th at 3 p.m. where we'll follow on, and this is an ongoing learning experience, so stay tuned.
Thanks for that, Mike. Sorry, I forgot that upcoming event. Hopefully you all heard that, and you can find out more information from our newsletter on our website coming soon. Thank you all for your time, and bye for now.
Happy innovation.
You guys.